We want to start off with a reminder that we are not doctors. Before you make any changes or try something new, always consult with your doctor and medical team first. Chronic illness can vary from patient to patient, so it's always best to consult with your own doctor for what is best for you.
Hello and welcome to IBD Determined. I'm your host, Mason Harvey, and I speak from the role of a patient, and I have Crohn's disease.
And I'm your other host, Michelle Harvey. I am Mason's mom, and I speak from the role of a caregiver on this podcast. Today's topic is perfect for the season that we're in. We are now in November.
Yes.
Halloween was a couple days ago, and you were Jack Sparrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Jack Sparrow.
Did a really good job. We
love
built a
that
big
question.
pirate ship. We've talked about this before, I think, but we have a big pirate ship we build outside in front of our house. So we have a candy cannon that kids love, and they
fun.
miss also a lot of the
They miss
candy.
a lot, yeah, but
Yeah, it comes out of it and they try to hold their bag up and catch it, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but that's part of the fun, I think, in it. Because some of the
makes
kids,
it a game.
yeah, they enjoy it like a game. So that was cool, but now we're in November, and one of the things that I thought would be worth talking about is something I see a lot online right now. There's a lot of questions about this, different questions. Those questions are, how do I help my child stay healthy during cold and flu season in the schools? How do I keep myself healthy? Other things like, am I more likely to get sick if I have IBD? Should I boost my immune system? Different things like that. We know a lot of the answers according to his doctor, according to what we've done. So I think it's important to remind people.
We're not scientists and we're not doctors. Right. We're going off of our doctor, and Crohn's disease is different for everybody. Just like how I need dual biologics, some kids just need one biologic, and sometimes people can't even use biologics. They have to take steroids.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other problems. Different for everybody.
We'll go more into that and kind of explaining how things are from different perspectives. And so first of all, one of the big questions I see, I want to get this out of the way right away, is flu and COVID vaccines. I understand this is I want to say it's a very controversial topic. For some, it's not. For others, it is. Because vaccines are out of our expertise, we're not going to be advising on vaccines in this episode. That's not what this is about. The best advice I could give you is to speak with your primary care physician, your child's pediatrician, and along with the gastroenterologist, any of the ones on those team, to find out what is recommended by your medical team for you.
We've said it several times, before doing something, ask your doctor. You can get advice from people online, you can get advice from us, but before you're like, hang on, I want to try this, ask your doctor first, because your doctor knows you best.
Right. And you may have concerns about vaccines, and that is the best to discuss with your doctor, not online, not with us. I wouldn't want to give anybody incorrect advice. So anyways, I just want to get that out of the way and leave your decisions for your child or for your own health to your own medical team and respect that decision. So let's get started here. So we're just kind of talking about cold and flu season in general. Some of the things, maybe some of you are listening and thinking, I don't need to worry about getting sick, or my kid doesn't need to, maybe you haven't really connected it yet. Maybe you're new to the IBD world. I think those of you who've been around it long enough do have an opinion about this for different reasons. Yes. And so I think it's good just to address whether you're new to this disease, whether you've had it for a while, talking about it, sharing your comments would be fine too. Why are colds and flus something IBD patients need to think about?
This is going to go.
Yeah. Mason's actually very educated on a lot of this. We discuss everything openly. We have the podcast. We talk about it. I want him to be in control of his health.
And you need to talk about it. There might be some scary things like surgery, but it's still important to consult that with your kid. Right. It is your kid's body. It's your kid's health.
And its honesty is going to empower them to make good decisions with you and understand why you're making decisions for them. So just one of those things. And so this is what, and again, this isn't meant to be a podcast that's going to put fear in you. Like, cold and flu season, you should be scared. Not at all.
No.
So according to Everyday Health, which is and I'm going to link all these sources as well. So you guys can,
It's
again,
in description.
read them yourselves if you want, but just like any good research paper or speech, like you know well,
Yeah,
all things
have
we've been writing,
sources.
have your sources. We're not going to just do this like, well, this is what we think.
So anyways, here's what we're going to talk about.
So we do have sources for these, and we can let you read those and make up your own minds. But one of the quotes, do you want to read it?
I'll read this quote. It's
Right
that
here.
one, all right.
Uh-huh.
People with Crohn's may not only be more susceptible to catching infectious, but also take longer to recover and be at greater risk of severe sickness and hospitalization.
That's a good reason why you guys need to think about it,
Yes.
because just having Crohn's disease and IBD in general, we say Crohn's, but I believe this also applies to ulcerative colitis, but you guys may be more susceptible to it. I found another article in gastrointestinal healthcare.
I would say, well, I think about that. However, I think I know another quote that might be coming, and I want to save what I'm thinking for that
Okay.
quote.
And if not, just say it.
Yeah, and if not, I'm just gonna say.
According to gastrointestinal healthcare, they said, according to a study published in the journal Inflammatory Bowel Disease, the risk of influenza and influenza related complications is higher among IBD patients. It goes on to say that study showed that the risk of contracting influenza was 30% higher for inflammatory bowel disease patients, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, we're talking here, when compared to those without IBD. The risk was 30% higher in that study. They also found that the rates of hospitalization within 30 days of the original diagnosis of flu were almost 3 times higher among IBD patients.
That's really fun.
That's legit.
I mean, it's also fun, because it's like IBD, Crohn's itself, or
Yeah.
Crohn's, and yeah, Crohn's is annoying. However, it's everything that comes with it too,
Right.
right?
And I'm hoping, even if you're listening and you don't have IBD, these are important for you to understand why someone you know with this, different people maybe like maybe not socializing at parties as much. They may be wearing a mask. There might be different things people are doing this time of the year, and it's important to respect and understand maybe why they're doing this. And
People don't just do things without I mean, some people might, but
I mean, there are those people.
but most people with the disease don't just do something,
right. There's usually a
without a reason.
purpose. And another question sometimes is, will having a cold or a flu make you flare? Because this is like another reason why maybe you should be concerned about this. And so, again, not to be afraid, but to give you, just healthy knowledge on what to look for and during the season. So they say that
We're gonna have a little TMI warning.
yeah, I'm gonna skip that.
Oh,
We'll make it. Yeah, I think I will. So, an infection like the flu can sometimes trigger a Crohn's flare. Certain flu medications can lead to some of those similar symptoms too. So they say it's important. This is everyday health again. It's important to keep in touch with your GI doctor to help you manage your GI symptoms if you're sick.
All right.
So, and that's what we do with Mason. And if we have any concerns, we just instantly my chart and say, hey, here's what's going on.
Keep your doctor updated. It's going to take them maybe a few days to respond. So if talk to your doctor when it's getting really bad,
They're like, well, why didn't you tell
why
us
didn't you tell
sooner?
us a few days ago,
Yeah.
So tell them in advance if you think something is happening. That way, by the time
Right.
something is really happening, they'll be focusing on you.
And maybe if it does cause you to flare, because there is a risk of flaring when you are sick, you can get a jump on it, or you can be more prepared. And so again, there's another quote that they have. We should have warned you all, we're starting off with the sciencey quote stuff. So that's what we're starting with. This is just kind of throwing all this at you, because I think us just saying this, I think it's more powerful when it's quoted. So we're not just like, guess what? This is what we think.
We got to start with the scientific.
So I think it's important for you guys to understand this. This all may answer a lot of your questions actually before we even get to the end of the podcast. As we go through here,
I think the second part of this is just going to be entertaining.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. That's the goal.
Yes.
Everyday Health says that people with Crohn's are more susceptible than the general population to infections such as the flu, and more likely to experience complications that require hospitalization, such as pneumonia, whether or not they're on immunosuppressant drugs.
Interesting.
So, I think a lot of people think when they have IBD that, well, I'm not going to take biologics because it lowers my immune system. I think that I'm not a scientist, and we're going to go into this more at the end a little bit. I think that it is important to try to regulate that immune system too. So yes, your immune system may be lowered, but even without the biologics,
you still have a higher
it's a problem.
chance, You
Yeah.
can kind of think of it like this. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not a scientist. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the reason. I'm only going to have a hypothesis, and I'm just
That's
going to
okay.
say this. Picture, so obviously your immune system is attacking your own body, doing the wrong thing. But picture this. You're fighting some other person, you're not paying attention to your back. And so you're fighting with somebody else, you're fighting with your own body. Your immune system's fighting your own
Mhm.
body. And while it's doing
Someone
that,
else
an
sneaking it.
illness has the chance to sneak in behind you.
Right.
And I mean, obviously,
Right.
I don't know if that's actually how it is. Just picture it like that,
If it's more inflammation, your body's going to respond.
Yeah, your immune
Um,
system is preoccupied with dumb things.
right, right. So there's a tie to that. And I mean, I do think you could be accurate in some of this. Those are some of the reasons why we should be concerned about this if you are a parent or a caregiver to somebody with this disease if you have it. Another quote we have here, a study published in the journal Inflammatory Bowel Diseases that examined more than 140,000 people's medical records. Okay, that's significant.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, we checked 100
That's
people.
higher than the groups they do for testing out biologics in some cases.
So that's a
So,
that's a good resource.
yeah, so they examined more than 140,000 people's medical records and found that people with IBD were more likely to contract the flu than those without IBD, regardless of whether they're taking corticosteroids.
Right.
Because steroids are one of the famous things that will mess up your immune
Yeah,
system, right?
yes.
And so I think people might think, oh, well, it's because you're taking something. Well, this study said that,
Whether you're taking it or not,
whether or not,
you have a higher
right.
chance. Interesting.
Here's what this doctor here, Dr. Perrian, which I think might be kind of someone you're just talking to. We're going to find out.
All right, we'll see.
She said that Crohn's disease is an autoimmune condition that can lead to higher susceptibility to infections, even if you aren't on medications. And she goes on to say, and she's a gastroenterologist who specializes in IBD at Johns Hopkins Medical Center.
Oh, okay.
She said this could be due to alterations in the immune system, which has a decreased ability to fight off bacteria and viruses. And then another source we have, and again, we're linking all these sources because some of these are not the same place.
You're gonna be able to check them out if you want.
And then another one said that a study in the American Journal of Gastroenterology found that people with Crohn's disease were significantly higher risk than the general population of pneumonia, which is a common flu complication that can lead to hospitalization. So we've kind of heard that again. So you hear that.
Heard that again. Kind of.
They also say, at least anecdotally, this is another doctor, Dr. Quasi, I think is how it's pronounced. It seems that my IBD patients take a couple more weeks to recover than patients without IBD. So you're looking at, I mean, it all kind of ties in, right? And I think when your immune system is not acting like others, it is going to take a little bit longer, maybe. I've even heard it takes longer. I'm not sure if this is accurate. I don't have this, but for you to, like when you're shedding a virus, like if you have, whatever you have and you're shedding it, you're going to take longer to shed it than someone with a regular immune system.
All right. So what I said wasn't entirely,
Right,
makes sense,
right.
but it's a way to visualize it, if you want to think of a reason, why.
Well, I think it's a good one because you're talking about fighting something else, then someone sneaks up on you, you're fighting that. So two different things you're fighting, but your body is still fighting. And so I think that
that's
does
going to take
make
more
sense.
energy,
Mhm.
And the thing is, when you are in a flare or just Crohn's disease itself, it can be tiring. And so
Yeah,
when you need all that energy to fight off another illness that's going on, you're going to have some problems. So it's going to be a chain reaction. Obviously, it's not going to be
right.
fun, and you're going to be feeling more tired. But
Yeah. And so now that we've kind of established the fact that IBD in general can raise your chances of getting ill or getting infection, I think that is an important place to start. So you have an understanding. And again, these are all chances. It's not saying you will. It's not saying
it's not
you
saying there's a
won't.
100% chance you will get
Right.
this. No.
You know yourself. I mean, most of you listening are going to know right now how often you get sick, how often you don't. So you already probably know which category you're falling into just by listening to this. So in this part, what we're going to talk about is like, I think this is part more I want to go into like what I see when people ask questions online about, trying to keep their
That's
kids
the fun
healthy in
part.
school or trying, should we take supplements? So anyways, when you ask these questions, the reason this is important to discuss, you're going to see a wide array of responses, ranging from, oh yeah, no, my kid with IBD is the only one in the family who never gets sick, to other ones saying they are sick all the time. Again, this disease is so frustrating because I feel like
It's different for everybody.
it is And I feel like somebody comes to get an answer and they get 15 responses that are all different and don't
And now,
help.
now what?
Yeah, it's like,
And see, in the first place, you should be asking your doctor.
right.
Uh,
Well, that's what we're going to go into
eh,
because Mason is right. Because in these groups, you're going to have people tell you as a fact, like, oh no, my kid never gets sick. Oh, we give them elderberry, we give them these kind of things and boost the immune system. And other ones are like, please don't do that. And then, so,
all right. So here's where I actually, here's what I was going to say with the first question.
okay.
This is where I plan on using it because one person said that because of flu season and stuff, they are going to put their kid on something like elderberry, which boosts the immune system so they don't get sick.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what they're doing. This is what they're recommending to another kid. But now let's remember, Crohn's disease is your immune system attacking your body, and you use treatments
To
to
suppress those
suppress
parts.
your immune system. Basically, you're gonna give yourself a flare, all right? All right.
Yeah,
That
and I
makes
mean, and we
sense.
are going to actually go into this more. So we will go there because,
Doing the one thing that you're not
yeah.
supposed to
And
do.
some of you may be doing this right now and you're like, well, I'm not flaring. Well, you know what? That
Yeah,
is
good. Good for you.
it's just I think we want to be what this is more about is not to say this won't work, this will work.
Hmm.
It's just to say to be aware that when you're getting this information, it's coming from a wide variety of
Hmm.
experiences, of levels of severity, of medications, what people are not being treated with. When you ask these questions, you're actually not asking it right. You need people to respond with telling you, like how long have they been sick, what is the severity level, and are they do they work primarily in from home? Do they work in a busy office? Are they working at a school? All these things are going to change how much you may get sick. It isn't right just to, you really need to actually explain your situation a little bit more to make it a fair answer, if that makes sense.
Kids who are never getting sick, maybe they're homeschooled,
Right,
Maybe
right,
they only go to the hospital, stuff like that. And then the kids who are getting sick, maybe that's because they go to a public school. And it's
right.
like, all right, well,
Yeah.
it's different for every kid, their situation's
Mhm.
also different with the disease, the severity of it. And so you got to remember that when you're asking for some parents online to give you some information on how to do this, they don't know who you are. Well, I mean, they may know who you are,
Yeah,
but they don't know you like your doctor does. They don't know the
right,
genes, the cells, all the sciencey stuff. And so
right.
they're not going to be able to give you good information. I
Hmm.
mean, they're going to give you some recommendations, but you should still be asking your doctor if
Right.
something's a good
Because
idea.
like Facebook isn't like a study group of
No,
health and research
it's not a
professionals.
scientist group.
No, I have a note, that it's mostly filled with anxious parents or patients looking for answers and they're desperate or they're freaked out, usually are answering the questions or who are asking the questions. It's and the responses are just going to come from people who aren't going to give you a clear answer. So if someone says, like we are just saying, their kid never gets sick, they need to explain more of a
What the
scenario.
situation
Right.
is.
So because otherwise it's easy for anybody to say that and it's like, but let me tell you why. So anyways, there could be different reasons for it that people aren't even aware of. When I see these questions, so now what I'm going to kind of do is go into how I would respond to somebody. And this is based on our experience with
All right.
Mason
This
and
is
also trying to keep an open mind and saying like he's not the only one. So I understand this is what we do or how I would respond. So the first thing I do, so I call it like you climb the ladder of risk factors, right? And that's just my own term for it, the way I picture it, where you're starting at the bottom of the ladder
I think that's a good way
and you're
to
kind of climbing up,
explain it.
right? And you're kind of, as you get higher and higher, you're going to have more risk factors. Some people are going to be higher up on the ladder, some are going to be lower. I think it is important to look at it like that perception. I also think like the main thing here is the very first thing is what we were talking about earlier. Mason said this, take your questions to your own medical team. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have enough concern, I mean, I know a lot of you probably are like, well, I don't want to bother my doctor. It's a stupid question. I'm just going to ask this in Facebook. It's not a stupid
No,
question,
it's not.
especially when it comes
The
to
doctor
this.
is
So,
caring about your health and they want
mhm.
to make sure that you are healthy as possible. There's some bad doctors out there who maybe don't care. For the most part,
Then you should probably find
if
a different
you
one
should find a different
because that
doctor if
that
that's the
cares,
case.
right?
But for the most part, almost all doctors are here for your health. They're getting paid to care for you. I mean, they took
And
classes for this. They have a background on this. They're not just
Right.
someone with it,
And there's nothing wrong with if reaching out to a group and asking a question. Sometimes you just want that feeling of support, or you just want to hear
yeah.
what other people do because you're like, what do you
But
do?
just don't be like, you
But
know what, this is a good idea. I'm gonna do it
right,
without my doctor knowing.
just be very careful with which one you pick or which one sounds the most exciting. Because the one person who says, "Oh, my kids with IBD never get sick," and if the person's like, "I'm going to pick that one," I agree with. Like,
Run the ideas by the doctor
yeah, just talk to
first.
your doctor. It's really a good idea. So that's a very first thing. Whenever I usually respond, I start off with, please consult with your doctor. Then I say, now here's our experience if you still want to hear it. Because I realize some people may be asking their doctor and they also just would like to hear some other opinions. And so I always make sure to provide that too. We're going to start off we know that when people are asking in this, you have IBD. So you're already at a slightly higher risk than the general population. The next thing I ask people is your child or are you taking something like steroids or biologics? Because that's going to also make a difference in your risk because I don't know if this person what they're doing for their
Yeah,
IBD.
what are they doing, you know?
So it's important. That's another thing when you ask this question, you should supply with, if you're asking a question, if your child's more at risk to get sick, here's what they're taking, or not
Actually,
taking.
here's an interesting thing that some people might not even, expect. With Crohn's disease, there's some teas that I can't drink
Oh,
because
yeah. We're
they,
going to go into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they,
Remember to say that when we talk about boosting your immune
all
system.
right, all right,
Okay.
I'll remember that.
Yeah, bring that up. So, a potential consequence of taking a biologic is weakening your immune system.
Yes.
Everyday Health also says that it's true that immunosuppressant medications, which are commonly prescribed for people with Crohn's and work by suppressing the immune system to help treat inflammation in the GI tract, can make people with Crohn's more susceptible to the common cold and flu.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at your risk factors, and I would say, okay, I have IBD. I also take biologics. It could increase my risk factors. There's some of you out there doing both these things. And you're doing very well. So I want to encourage people too, like, don't be freaked out by this.
Mhm.
You might be doing well, but it's just important to
And also
know
thinking,
these
oh, I have
things.
a bigger chance of getting sick if
Right.
I'm on these biologics.
Hmm.
Crohn's disease is a
Yeah.
disease that is progressive. It gets worse if you don't treat it. And so, lowering your immune system, you're becoming a little more susceptible to illnesses.
Right.
However,
You already
your
are.
body isn't going to destroy itself
Right.
as
Right.
fast, so
Yeah.
it's a good substitute. You just have to take the boosters or injections for
Yeah.
the new variants of flu and such.
Basically, you're at this level already of just saying, hey, I have a few risk factors for becoming more sick. It doesn't mean I will, but it means that there is a chance of getting sick, of getting infections. And that's just knowledge is power. It's not to have fear of it. It's to say, I need to be aware of this because if my coworker next to me or my best friend is really sick, I probably should try to either move, where I'm seated
Mhm.
or not go out to lunch with that
Yeah.
friend. Different things like that. It's important. And it's important for caregivers actually to be aware of this because when you are the caregiver for somebody with this, I myself treat myself a lot of times like I try to protect myself so I'm not sick and bringing it to him.
Yeah. That's
So,
that's how illnesses work. They're
yeah,
spread.
that's how they
Just
do.
don't want to spread it, right?
So we just take precautions. And so now we're gonna, you climb up, you ask these people another question as we climb up that ladder, what type of biologics are they on? If are they on gut specific? Are they overall suppressive? Mason's on two of those. One is more gut specific, one is overall. Different biologics are gonna may have different results.
But this is where the precision biologics, which Dr. Argan was working on. This is where precision biologics can work better because instead of an overall biologic that's attacking, well, not attacking, but
Yeah.
suppressing everything, you have a precision medication that specifically only targets one thing or a few things.
Right.
It's not gonna mess up everything else. So that's what we're trying to help research too.
The reason these things are important is you discuss these things with your doctor. They'll let you know again, like if you should have any concerns depending on what you're taking. You may not know what yours is. Mason's on Entyvio and Stelara. Entyvio is the gut specific. Stelara is the overall. If you're taking one, you have questions. These are great questions for your doctor, and they may reassure you, like, no, there really isn't much more of a risk. So good to ask them. The next thing when somebody asks these questions, what I'm asking is, what is your treatment schedule and dosage. And I actually think this is one of the most important questions because
Yes.
this is where, so to me, this is one of the most important factors. And I don't think people consider, like, oh, well, I'm taking Remicade. Okay, maybe you're on the lowest dosage of whatever biologic it is
Mhm.
every 8 weeks. And so maybe that's where you're at. Maybe you're like Mason, where you're on the maximum dosage every 4 weeks and on
On
two of
two,
them.
you know, and you see, if it already suppresses your immune system every 8 weeks, you know, which is
Right,
not that bad, you know,
right,
doable. But when you're doing two every 4 weeks, you
right.
know,
You've
it's
just
like,
doubled the.
oh,
And so
shoot.
that's why you can't, Mason may have Crohn's disease, like someone else say there's another person standing next to him with Crohn's disease. Their treatments are two different regimens. It's going to affect right away. There's going to be differences. Their immune system, I'm guessing, I don't know the specifics on this, but this is something that really need to consider, I think, when you're asking these questions. If you're going to ask my child more likely to get sick at school this year, there's a lot of things you should add in there that my child is diagnosed with this. My child is being treated with this. My child's being treated this many weeks with this dosage. And then someone can say, here's our situation. And because you're not comparing apples to apples at that point,
No.
it's apples and oranges. And you can't really give advice without knowing the answer to these. And so that's really important.
So basically, when giving an answer, say, well, here's what my kid does, and here's my answer,
Mhm.
but here's what my kid does.
And then you say, and like I'll explain, if they don't provide these things, I'll just explain, just so you know, here's what my son is on, here's how his treatment intervals are. So this is why we do what we do. Because then people start to understand, oh, okay, it's not like a headache and you take an ibuprofen,
No.
which by the way,
Yeah, don't
no
take
NSAIDs.
ibuprofen.
If you are sick, I don't think NSAIDs are going to be
No,
recommended.
if you have Crohn's disease, if you have
Yeah,
IBD,
throwing that out there.
don't take them.
But
No.
if you have, a headache and you take an aspirin or you take a Tylenol, that's different. There's your dosages are going to always be recommended on your age. Those things are standard. For this disease, your treatments aren't standard. And so an answer is not going to be a standard answer, if that
No.
makes sense. I always try to answer people's questions with making sure to include other facts on Mason, not just stating like something, like this is how it works for us. So anyways, these are all different things that are important to consider. Other thing for us that why are colds and flus, like why do we care so much? Can you take treatments while you're sick? And so that depends. The one of the times Mason had when he was sick, they went ahead and did it because he didn't have a fever.
Hmm.
And so that was one of the questions. Does he have a fever? No. Okay, we still want him treated. So in your doctor, it may vary.
Yes, and I mean, also aside from the effect it's going to have on you and the biologics, I also think of it like the people in the infusion center or the hospital themselves, you know, because these people already have immune systems that are suppressed.
Hmm.
And when they have to sit in the same room for
Right.
3 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours with
Yeah.
someone,
Or worse,
yeah,
sneezing,
or sneezing, you know,
coughing.
it's like you
Yeah.
know, they might not be that comfortable. The heart rate's already up because
Right.
the infusion, they had to walk there and stuff. So, you know, you want that it's not the most nicest thing to do. You know, you have to do what you have to do to get
Right. But they
your
have
treatment.
rooms, you
Yeah,
can have isolation rooms, different things if you are sick. If you are bringing a sibling that is sick, same kind of deal. And they ask us before Mason goes in every time. They call the day before. Has he been around somebody sick? Is he feeling okay? Are you guys all well? And so our infusion center does ask these questions. And so it's important for you to be honest. Make sure, let the GI know, let the infusion center know, and they can be prepared and
mhm,
you can still get it. And if you're doing injections at home, talk to your doctor to see if it's still recommended. Most times I believe they want you to keep that treatment going.
yes.
And so that is important, but it's important to see what your symptoms are and if it's at that
Yes,
time it's doable.
always ask your doctor. You know, it's the most important
Mhm.
thing.
One of the reasons why cold flu season matters, like Mason here, he has less time between treatments. So if
Yeah,
you're someone who's on an 8 week regimen and
yeah.
you get
You have
sick,
8 weeks to get better.
right. And even if you get sick at week 2 or week 3 or week 4 or week 5, you still have time to be
Yeah,
well
to improve,
for
to
that
get
next
better.
infusion. For him,
I don't have that time.
he doesn't have that amount of time. And so for us, we really try to limit the risk factors. It's not just like, well, it doesn't matter, you just get sick. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it does, because if he did end up with a fever on the day he's supposed to get his treatment or
Mhm.
something is delayed, that could be a problem.
It's for the normal person, you know. Also, because here's also what they said: it lasts longer than the normal person. So
Yep.
for a normal person, it might last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and
Hmm.
then for someone with Crohn's disease, it's gonna last like 5 to 6 weeks.
Right.
And so the thing is, if you're on 8 weeks, yeah, it's a. But then when you're on every 4 weeks and you're on two biologics, they're going down to every 2 weeks. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no, this is really gonna mess it up, you know?
And so that's another reason why it's not just for infection or the risk, it's that risk of not being able to be treated. And
Mhm.
so again, these are all different things to consider, and everyone's going to be different with this
Yes.
disease. One of the things that we do, in case anyone out there
A
cares,
few things.
maybe you
Mhm.
don't,
You know?
but if you're looking for what we do because of he's a little more severe
Susceptible, yeah.
than others, we do mask up
Yep.
when we're indoors, like in public places.
We are
Super easy to do. We wear
yes.
the N95s
Mhm.
or KN95s you can wear too. It's just it's a very simple thing to do if
Yeah.
you're going to be indoors somewhere around this time.
Just wear
Wash your
it.
hands.
Yeah.
Very easy. We use hand sanitizer when we don't have somewhere to wash our hands available. We avoid people we know who are
Yep.
sick. You know, just recently on my birthday, I didn't get to spend the birthday with my sister and her kids because they were sick
Hmm.
and he had a treatment coming up, and we're like, we're in this predicament of we miss out, but at the same time they're at least they're understanding and honest about this, and it's like, hey, we're all sick, we probably should just be careful. And so we did, and so those are unfortunately things that happen, and also we spend more time outdoors, and
So,
so
for instance, if you go to a restaurant,
mhm,
eat outdoors
right,
instead of eating inside because everyone, if people are wearing masks at this time, but people won't be wearing masks when they're eating, and so
right,
there's a lot of room for
right,
contamination. And
right,
also, I just want to say we talked about it before, but it's happened to my dad where he's wearing a mask to protect me, and someone comes through his line and
yeah,
they're rude to him, maybe they find it annoying, but the thing is that people should understand is when he says it's for my kid, whatever he has his immune system is suppressed, they go, oh, okay, they immediately just take that back. But you should always not, you shouldn't be assuming, but you should always be like, there might be another reason for this than just
right,
wearing it. Maybe there's a kid that they're trying to protect that way. This
yeah,
person doesn't feel like they're being attacked for trying to help their kid or someone they're taking care of. Because it could even be an older person who has a suppressed immune
right,
system,
right,
and you don't want to hurt these people. They're just trying to do what they can to help. And
yep,
sure, the masks may not be fully effective. It's still important to do what you can,
yeah.
to help
It's we
people you're
have
taking care of.
like we have an episode that we did on masks, and one of the things, like, even if it's a 1% chance, it's like it's a not painful thing to do,
No,
easy to put the
it's not
mask
like you're
on and take
getting
it off when you
an
go outside.
injection every time you put it on.
Yeah, so it's like it's like for us, I know
That's
some other people are very like COVID was one of the worst things ever to happen to masks. And it is so unfortunate to me because I feel like it gave them such a bad rap. Masks existed before COVID, and I feel like people think they were invented for COVID. And it's like, no, people with suppressed immune
they've
systems or who are
existed.
sick, they've used masks way before COVID. And so don't assume someone is still stuck in the COVID era and accuse
No.
them of fear. And it's so ridiculous. It's like
It's
masks.
existed way before that.
Yes.
I mean,
And
who remembers the witch doctors? I didn't because I wasn't around that time.
no.
I'm just saying, but they've existed. It's not just a COVID thing, it
Right.
doesn't have to be associated with that. Sure, everyone had to wear masks during that time, but that's just because everyone's trying to be safe. It
Right.
wasn't created because of COVID.
Right.
It's important.
And
Important to
and
remember that. Keep that in
and
mind.
like and it's like everyone knows they're not 100% effective, but
Nah,
again, they reduce the risk. And so,
even though it's not 100%, this mask isn't going to make me invincible.
right.
It's not going to make me
Not
invincible.
magic.
No, it's not magic. But you're still improving the chance. And whenever you
Right.
can improve the chance for having, a healthier life, I'm going to take that
And
route.
I think sometimes I feel like you don't touch your face.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
also helpful
you touch
because
the
sometimes,
mask.
I mean, on here I'm going like this a lot because I'm
Yeah, I
shaking.
noticed that too. Like a lot of my hands up here. It's up with the mask, you're less likely to do that.
So, I mean, if
So,
you're out at a store and you were just touching something and then you're talking to your friend, you're like, so yeah, the other day I was, but if you're wearing a mask, you might go, oh, it makes you think about it a little bit more. And I've got myself with that too. It helps in other ways,
mhm.
than you'd think.
Another thing is some people say, should I take immune system boosters? They want to take supplements to boost their immune systems. Again, talk to your doctor.
Yes.
Don't start taking things because somebody on the internet said they take something to boost their immune system. They're taking all this stuff because, there's a Dr. Jaff from UCLA Health who says that she wants to warn patients against going on supplements meant to boost the immune system without first working with a dietitian or other provider. That's very
I
important.
mean, just think about the science of it. Crohn's disease is
Mhm.
caused by the immune system attacking the own body. So if you're making it stronger,
Well, you're trying to suppress something,
yeah,
and it's not a
it's
great idea
don't
to
you
awaken
shouldn't
it.
mix
And
something
this is where you were
that
talking about tea,
yes.
because I actually my charted his doctor on this question. I probably sounds stupid because some of you are like, well, why would you do that? Well, because I was like realizing when I was looking at some of these teas, I'm like, oh, they have, it has certain roots in it or whatever in it that boosts the immune
Pepper?
system. And I'm like,
Wait a minute.
huh. And so I messaged his doctor and I'm like, are there anything I should, supplement like
Should
or things in
avoid.
teas I should avoid? And I had a list sent back where she was like, you should avoid these. These things could mess with the immune system.
And you're like, oh shoot,
And
okay,
so it's
good to
like,
know.
oh, okay. So that came from our doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's
It
important
might seem like a
to,
silly question,
yeah.
but look at we learned something from it.
Right. So before you sit here and think, I need to go boost my immune system, talk to your doctor first and
Yes.
see what they think. Another thing I see a lot, and I don't have the right answer for this because I don't, I just know what I read and what I think. But one of the things that people say is that they think that the biologics balance out the immune system. So you now have a normal immune system because they think if it was overactive, they're
Mhm.
taking a biologic, it's bringing it down to normal levels. So now they've got actually like a better immune system than other people.
No,
It's even better. And they have a less chance of getting sick because now the system is balanced.
how it works.
That's not what I have heard. I know I have other friends who have heard this from their doctor who go to the same hospital we go to. That's interesting
I
because
mean, maybe, but the thing is,
they don't really know.
yeah, but why was there the 30% chance more you're likely to get
Well,
blah
that's
blah blah,
Yeah. And I think that people get confused because when they hear overactive, their minds picture like, I don't know, like bugs. Like
Yeah,
there's a ton of these little
they
things.
picture the
And then
ant colony
they put the
attacking.
logic on it and it's like whoosh. And now it's like normal level achieved. And it's like there is no
Normal.
normal level being achieved. You don't know how overactive the system was. You don't know what portion of the body was the overactive. There's different immune cells and your
Mhm.
body's not made up of one type. And so it's kind of to me, I would never, Mason's system is being suppressed. It's not being brought to normal
No.
baseline levels. And so looking it up, there is no baseline for these guys or normal. So it's not restoring the immune system. It's turning off target portions of the immune system that are being bad in attacking the body. A simple Google search tells you this is what I got through Google. While biologics treat the symptoms of an overactive immune system, they do not make the immune system normal or restore its baseline function in the traditional sense. So it matches up with what I just found in the other article that I found. So I think that it's not to say that you're wrong if you think that way because I don't necessarily know. We don't know what your kid or your own levels were at.
It's
How
different
much?
for everybody.
Right.
Also, we're not doctors, we're not
No.
scientists, we are just
But I don't
researching.
think I don't picture it like Mason's at a level 9,000 and this person's at a level 9,000 also. Everybody's going to have different levels of overactive systems and they're being treated with different biologic, which means you have different immune system triggers. Different ones are being suppressed. So I just think it's important whether that's true or not. Be careful thinking that your IBD kid is going to be more immune than other people or for some reason less capable of catching it. I think it's just important to know that. But again, I'm not a scientist, not a doctor on this. So that's just if you are getting sick more often than you feel you should be, talk with your doctor to come up with a plan. If you're not getting sick at all, cool. Then you're obviously doing something well. Your body is doing, then good. Keep up what you're doing. It's just easier for us. Like with us, we just take precautions.
Yes.
And like I said, the little things we did, using masks in public indoor spaces, washing your hands, going outdoors more, avoiding people who are sick. It's just something it's part of our life, things
It's better
we
to be
do.
prepared and safe than
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. It's important when you got sick, it was during COVID, which early COVID. And so it's like you want to wrap everything in bubble wrap and just like hide inside forever. You're like, oh my gosh, like everything is bad.
Touch anything.
Everything. Yeah. Like, you hear someone cough on a TV show and you freak out,
Yeah.
you know? You're like, "Oh my gosh."
Ouch. You
Um,
have a dream and you all of a sudden someone coughs and you
right.
wake
You're
up
like,
and you're running around the house.
yeah. So
Uh,
it's like there is a happy balance here of being proactive and taking care of yourself and also understanding like just to live life too. And I think it was a really bad timing when Mason got sick, but slowly, we've gotten used to just kind of we have a new normal and we have things that are we're very well adjusted to and not that difficult. I mean, there's some sacrifices made, but again, for us, it's the right decision. Mental health is also super important, and so that's why I do say to like talk to your doctor because if you're feeling like you don't like to wear masks, they bother something, they trigger something, or you need more social interactions, and you like say you decide someone wants to homeschool their kid, and someone's kid wants to go to public school, or these are all things
yeah,
to
to talk to your
discuss and make
doctors.
sure the mental health aspect is also being addressed. So, anyways, basically. That's your cold and flu season fun. Hopefully, we didn't scare anybody.
No. So basically, what the moral
What's
of
your
the story aside from
what's
just
your
learning,
takeaway on this?
aside from all the sciencey stuff that we learned, basically, you can ask people their opinion on, online. Just
Yeah.
take it with a grain of salt, and don't ask people questions for something that you're going to do. Ask it for ideas to ask your doctor.
Right. That's a very good point. And because sometimes, like, I want to ask a question because I want to bring back what other people are doing and ask my doctor, hey, is this
Mhm.
legit? Is this real?
Or to give you ideas, something you maybe didn't think about. So it
Right.
gives you a good idea to
Right.
ask. I mean,
So it's
good
a good point. And it's
questions.
not like to discourage people. Use the online chat. It's good to use that. And sometimes you just want to talk to other parents. You don't want to just talk to like a medical
Mhm.
professional. So sometimes it does feel nice to hear from other people like that. But yeah, like if there's something that really stood out to you or something you're excited about, you read or heard, talk to your doctor about it, see what they think,
Just
and
just don't be like,
just don't change anything or do anything
yeah.
that could make things worse or but just yeah, but just kind of common sense stuff that everybody should be doing is the
Mhm.
best thing you can do. And I know other doctors have said to get rest, stay hydrated, just all that kind of stuff. Eat well and take care of yourself. Yeah, and then it's up to you. It's really up to you guys how you want to, especially adult patients, up to you guys, how much you want to push. If what you're comfortable with as a parent to, when he was diagnosed at 11,
They're more
it was a lot
responsible.
of responsibility on me to learn about this and make well-informed decisions
Because
for
the kid isn't
Mason.
going to be like, yes, I'll get the infusion.
Right. Or be like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I want to go do that. I still want to go to Disneyland and do it. It's
Kid's
like,
like, "Help."
yeah. And so, I mean, we go to Disneyland. We still do cool stuff and we just take our own precautions.
Yeah, we just take
And
our own precautions, because there's a lot of nice restaurants at Disneyland, and one of the main precautions that we do is going to Naples and eating outside,
which
because
is
outside,
so nice,
yeah, it's a
actually.
very, very good place if you like calamari. Make sure, that you're not allergic to it, but
Yeah.
the calamari there is very good. The pizza there is very good. Sorry if you can't eat it, but it's not too greasy, so
Yeah.
if you don't like grease, you can probably have it. But basically, just staying outdoors, wearing your mask, always having hand sanitizer. So when you go like touch a railing, just make sure you're staying nice and clean.
Right.
And
Just
just
doing those kind of things.
and even if you think the mask isn't, protecting your face from the germs, just know that there's going to be a time when you accidentally reach for your face
And you
after
will
you've
not
been touching a
remember.
railing.
You'll probably like you won't even probably remember that you touched your face
Because
or touched
sometimes,
the railing.
because sometimes you're just doing something fun like this. Oh, or just like,
Right.
I was
Or all of a sudden you
wondering.
have an itch and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
and you have
okay.
an itch and you
And
just,
you're like, ah, did I wash my
yeah.
hands or did I?
So it's just good, to have the mask, just as a
Mhm.
reminder, if you don't think it
Right.
stops germs, and then just good to wash your hands constantly.
If and again, this is all if you want to.
This is
If
all if you
if you
want to.
feel
This is
like
your
I don't
personal
need to
preference.
do that, cool.
This
Like
is your
that's
life to
yeah.
live.
We're just here to offer
Yeah,
our perspective if anyone even cares, and you
yeah,
may
if
not
anyone
care.
cares.
And
You
you
might just
and
you
that's
might just
okay
be watching
too.
us to fall asleep again.
Yeah, or
So
maybe you learn a little something and you're not going to always agree with everything we say. And that's
yeah,
not what we're about. We're
no,
not here to just that because this disease doesn't agree with each other anyways.
exactly.
It's always like seems like everyone's got it. Nobody's can agree with
No.
what people will get into arguments about their own symptoms and like no
No, your symptoms aren't this. This
it's
is my
just
symptoms are. You're lying.
and so it's kind of it's like oh so this disease is not something that's easy to pinpoint. So not always one way to do things. But when we try to get information that we try to share with you guys that is helpful to you and so you can learn. So with that, guys, do you want to see our trick-or-treating pictures? We didn't trick or treat. You want to see the trick-or-treaters at our house.
Yeah.
You want to see our Halloween pictures?
Or my Jack Sparrow outfit.
Go
It's yo
to
ho, yo ho, pirates, but I'm gonna get copyrighted.
Yeah, don't start singing. But yeah, you can go to our Instagram page at Team IB Determined. You can
Yes.
also go to the Reggie Project and check that out. Carmitude Candles is about to launch our Christmas scents.
It's the
So
most wonderful. No,
yeah,
can't sing
I'm
that either.
excited. So we'll get those out.
Start playing some Bing Crosby, Nat
Yeah,
King
it's about that
Cole,
time.
Frank Sinatra. Oh,
All the good stuff. We like the classics over
yeah.
here. So, anyways, yeah. So check those out. And then you guys can listen to us on any podcast station like Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And there's a lot of other options on the link we provide to you guys. And I'll leave this part to you.
So if you're listening to podcasts or something, you probably already found what you're going to listen to. However, if you want to watch us as well as hear us, there's YouTube. There's also
Yep.
YouTube podcasts. But if you're on YouTube, you might as well be watching videos. There's that. If you are on YouTube, make sure to give us a like, subscribe, and if you want to be notified every time we post a new video, make sure to hit that bell icon so you can sing Carol of the Bells. Just kidding. And make sure to leave a comment. If there's anything we miss, just make sure it's positive.
Yeah.
If there's anything you're interested, you want to see in another podcast,
Leave
give
it.
us
Let us know. We could
yeah,
talk about
give
our
us an idea.
address.
Or if you just want to say hi, go ahead. Just make sure it's positive because there's too much negativity in the world.
We're not here for it.
Yeah, some
No.
Christmas positivity.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you for listening. And we'll be back here in 2 weeks for the next episode. So we'll see you then.
Yes. Hope you had a good Halloween.
Yeah.
Have a good holiday season.
All right.
All right.
See you in a few weeks.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you will stick around, tune in, and reach out to us with your own journeys. We are excited to give you an inside view of what it takes to be a caregiver and what it's like to be a patient.
And most of all, we hope you'll maybe be able to play something you hear on here that might help you in your own life. Sometimes life changes, and it's all about how you handle the journey.